All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we're going to talk about just give some draft takeaways from the NFL draft. We got a little bit of a time limit here, but I want to get your guys' thoughts. Just like give me like a surprise from the draft, and then also I guess like we'll talk about how what our teams did. Um, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. So give me your whoever wants to go first. Give me a surprise from the draft, and then like your overall like thoughts on like what your team did, or some other opinions you may have.
Yeah. Um, I think the biggest surprise, other than just naming the obvious one with Michael Penix, I'll probably say how late like Quinion Mitchell and Terrion Arnold went. I thought they were going to go probably after, like right after 11 or right after 12 to the Raiders or the Saints maybe, or someone was going to trade up. For the Eagles and likewise for the Lions to get him in the 20s, I think that was insane to me as the biggest surprises really. And then just for my team, the Steelers, also getting very fortunate to have Troy Fautanu fall to them as well at pick 20. I think was pretty surprising. I didn't think he was going to be there at all. I kind of had a feeling they would go O-line, but to get him, they were really excited about him. And then just throughout the draft to get Roman Wilson in there for a receiver. I really like him in Michigan. I know that we just finished talking about them not
Right.
really throwing the ball, but it was, I thought he still did a lot of good things. Same with Payne Wilson. He actually doesn't have like, they always talk about it, an ACL in his knee, which I didn't know, but he was a very good linebacker for North Carolina State. And also, oddly enough, I'm in West Virginia. I go to school here, and they were fortunate enough to draft Zach Frazier, the West Virginia center. So that was pretty cool. I thought both of those
You got to
guys
get
would
his
probably
jersey.
start. Oh, you got his jersey?
No, no, I'm saying you got to get his jersey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, to get him in the second round, a lot of people didn't think he was going to be
Hmm.
there, and for him to go to West Virginia, I thought was pretty awesome. So I thought they addressed a lot of things that they needed to, and I was pretty happy with it all.
And then Emran, you're a 49ers fan, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on their draft?
Um, well, mixed emotions.
Hmm.
Taking Ricky Pearsall in the first round, it kind of almost seems like a luxury pick, especially when you look after the draft when they keep when they end up keeping Ayuk and Debo. At first, speculation was, oh yeah, one of these guys is kind of go the next day, with the second day, but then I do like Ricky Pearsall as a wide receiver. Maybe we reached a little bit for him, but he is a guy that kind of complements well. He's not a Julian Edelman or Adam Thielen. Those comparisons are just because he's white. That makes no sense to me. He's a more athletic version of a Thielen. So I like the move. It seems a little bit of a luxury move, but what I do like better is us taking Renardo Green. We did have kind of a hole at cornerback, for in my opinion. We needed to bring someone else in. Historically, under this reign, we never took O linemen, which is something I thought we needed to take and address early, but that's not something we normally do throughout the draft. We kind of like plug and play, or we make a trade for like a Trent Williams. So I'm interested to see how we shore up that offensive line. But at the end of the day, this is a 49ers team that doesn't have much holes just in general in the whole roster. So I guess you kind of have the luxury to take a guy like Ricky Pearsall in the first round and kind of build for the future because you're not going to be able to keep Debo and Ayuk for the next few years. I would say my main surprise though is obviously has to be the eighth overall pick, Michael Penix Jr., which I'm not a fan of for Atlanta. I don't really like teams that go halfway in for now and halfway in for the future. I think that just really ends up with nothing. So I really think either Falcons should have took someone that can plug in, help play, win now, like Dunze. You could pair him up with Drake London or Pitts, really help out Kyle or Kirk Cousins. Or you should have never signed Kirk Cousins, and you can splash that money on on building for Michael Penix in the next 4 or 5 years, trying to win in his rookie deal. So I don't like it going halfway in now, halfway in the future. I think you end up with nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with the Penix stuff. Because, I mean, especially with the Kirk Cousins contract, I mean, you gave him $180 million and $100 million guaranteed, and he's coming off of the Achilles injury. I mean, I think he'll still, like, do well, but, you know, it's a significant injury, and he's getting older. I mean, same thing with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is even older than Kirk Cousins, too. You know, so they're taking a bit of a risk, and you know, this could be the difference on whether the general manager and the head coach keep their job because this could and on top of that, Michael Penix has an injury history too. So,
Right.
you know, that's something that they could deal with down the line as well. So, but yeah, I pretty much agree with the Penix pick. I mean, I understand the thought process. I mean, I think if they were able to grab him later in the draft, I think it would have looked better, but you know, they took him with the 8th overall pick. And you want to take an impact player that's going to help your team right now. And I still think the Falcons, they're going to. I think right now you look at them as the favorites to win the division. I think it's between them and Tampa at the moment. And I'd give the Falcons a slight edge, even though I'm probably going to take Tampa more with my heart because I'm a Baker Mayfield guy. So I'm probably still going to side with Baker. But I think the Falcons, you got to look at them as the favorites. But at that pick, they should have taken someone that could have impacted their team right now. But we'll see how that goes. And then as for my team, the Giants, I mean, I liked that they took a receiver because that's something they desperately needed for years now. I mean, they haven't had a number one wide receiver since Odell Beckham Jr. And then they took arguably, a lot of people were saying that they took the best safety in the draft. So I thought that was good because they lost McKinney, who we talked about before briefly, going to the Packers. So I like that. I feel like the Giants are slowly building something. Now, they're missing the most important thing, and that's the quarterback. So, you know, we'll see what they end up doing. We'll see if Daniel Jones proves everybody wrong and he's the guy. But for me, I don't see it. So I was kind of happy. I was a little surprised that they didn't take an offensive lineman. I know they addressed it in free agency, but I was kind of hoping they maybe would have taken one maybe in the later rounds. But I guess they think they're all right there. So, but I think they're slowly but surely they're building something, and it seems like that's been the case for a long time. But hopefully this is a step in the right direction. So,
Absolutely.
all right. So we got a few moments here, but because I know we're running out of time, but I want to thank you guys for hopping on for a bit. We were dealing with some. Well, I was dealing with some issues on my end trying to set this all up, you know, and that's why we kind of started a little late here. But I really appreciate you guys coming on. You guys do a great job. You know, Manny, this is the second time I've worked with you individually, so it was a pleasure. And Emran, hope to continue to work with you in the future. I mean, we're going to be making appearances on each other's shows in the coming weeks, so this isn't the only time we're going to see all three of us together. But yeah, no, it was nice having you guys on, and I'll see you guys in about an hour for the production meeting. So
Sure thing. Yeah, thanks for having us on, Kenneth. This
yeah,
was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us on, Kenneth. A
yep,
great show.
yep. So yeah, again, appreciate you guys coming on. So yeah, we're gonna take our second break. Actually, before we take our second break, just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate, get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link. That is GSMCPodcast.net. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is GSMCPodcast.net. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker at the bottom of the show segment down below. So when we come back from our second break of the show, I got to switch around the segments here. We will talk about Jared Goff more. We will talk about some things the general manager had to say, how the extension is a high priority for them, and kind of where that's all at currently. And yeah, some more Lions talk when we come back from our second break of the show. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.